Hello Pisces, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self to create the life that you deserve and desire? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone, so do please remember to take what does resonate if there is anything that helps your personal situation and leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Pisces, we're going to start with looking at overall energy for your past, present, and future energies with oracle cards, and then we're going to dive into the story a little bit deeper with tarot as we progress in the reading. So let's start with looking at your overall energy for your recent past. What has Pisces been dealing with? Don't let your past hold you back. The answers you need are coming. Confidence is your key to success, and nothing will come of this situation unless you have confidence. Okay, so when I was shuffling, I heard injustice, dealing with some injustice. And I feel like I don't know what necessarily happened in this past energy, but it does feel unfair. And I think that, a lot of times when we go through things that are unfair, it's easy for us to start to question, like, whether or not we deserved it, or whether or not, things are ever going to get better for us. And we start to doubt what's possible for us. And I think that with this look at the bigger picture card, and this confidence is your key to success, I feel like this is about understanding that there is always another side to the things that we're going through, meaning that there is always an outcome that can be of our highest good. And I feel like this is about almost like fighting back instead of allowing these things to define you. So, what I mean by that is, when you go through, say, this relationship that's just incredibly, this person doesn't treat you well, or, there's infidelity or abandonment there, you have a choice to either let that define you and define your life from that point forward, or to fight back with your light. And I feel like that's what this process is really about for you. And I know how hard it can be, but it's almost like not letting the things that are unfair and the things that have happened to you define who you are and where you can go from here. And again, I think that a lot of times it can be really hard, because it's almost like, well, no matter how hard I try, it just seems like things don't work out. But I do really feel like this is about, not allowing whatever has happened to take away your power or to leave you powerless, because you do have more power than you think, even if it's hard to see or feel. Current energy for Pisces. You and your loved ones are safe, with luck is on your side. So I do feel as if you're dealing with a situation that is eventually going to turn out in your favor. And I feel like with this you and your loved ones are safe card, this is very much about knowing that you are very guided and protected through this process. Now, then you also have adjustments are required with belief in the impossible. So there might be some things that are required from you in order for you to receive the best outcome possible. And I feel like we'll get a lot more on that when we really dive into tarot. But with this You Are Good Enough card, I feel like this is about knowing that like you are deserving of good things, you're deserving of good outcomes, and even if things are unfair or aren't the way that you deserve them to be right now, that doesn't mean they can't change, and that doesn't mean that you're not worthy and deserving of them changing for the better. So I do think that this is very much about trusting the process. You know, my husband has gotten me over the years of our relationship really into superhero movies, specifically Marvel. And there's a theme that I noticed in all of these Marvel stories, and it's that there is always a phase or a period in these movies where it feels or seems like the bad guy has won. Like the bad people or the bad guy has won. But then at the end of it, or at the end of the story, at the end of the movie, the good guys always pull through. And I feel like that's where, you know, sometimes things can feel really dark. It can feel bleak. It can feel unfair. But the more that we keep fighting for what's good, I just mean like we as in anybody who's dealing with anything like that, the more that you keep fighting for what is good and what is right and what you deserve, the more you are going to solidify that you're capable of receiving that and that you're heading in that direction. So I feel like things are going to work out in your favor. I don't necessarily know what you're dealing with here, but I do feel like things are going to work out in your favor. But I do feel like there are going to be some things that are required from you. So let's move. What does Pisces need to know moving forward? Now, things working out in your favor doesn't always mean they're going to work out exactly like you want them to or that you think that they should. But it means that it's working out in a way where you can still come out on top. So you have expect powerful change with prosperity lies ahead. I feel like but you have a lot to look forward to. You have a lot of good that I feel it really is coming your way. I feel like there's a need to really let go of what that might look like. You know, a lot of times, especially when we've been done wrong by somebody else, we have this tendency to believe that justice is only going to be served when the people who have hurt us are experiencing the same type of pain that we do. When in reality, the best revenge, the best justice is a life well lived, is your ability to receive abundance and joy and all of the things that you deserve. So I don't necessarily know what this is talking about, but I do feel like what you need to know is that you have good things in store for you, regardless of how things might feel or look right now. So let's see overall theme of this reading for Pisces. What does Pisces need to know about what they're dealing with? Interesting. Past life and new life. So to me, this is closing out a major cycle in your life and almost stepping into a brand new world for yourself. And I feel like things are going to look a lot different than they did before, but in a good way. To me, this feels like you have more ahead of you than you do behind you. And that doesn't mean that like, you know, the things that have happened to you are insignificant or that you should just forget about them. That's not what I'm saying. But not allowing them, again, to hold you back from the life that you deserve, the outcomes that you deserve, the love you deserve, the abundance you deserve. All of that is still very much available for you. So I don't necessarily know what you guys are dealing with. I do feel like it's been very impactful. And I feel like you are kind of in a transition phase from the way that things have been into kind of stepping into the way that things, can be. Like, you might not realize how good things can get for you. And I feel like that's what this is really about, is not letting what you have been through define who you are and who you can become in the life that you can live moving forward. And I know that's so much easier said than done, I know, but I do also feel that this is so incredibly important to remember when we're dealing with just life's challenges in general, is that we can either let those challenges define us and define our future, or we can remember that we are the only people who hold the power to actually define us and define our future. What does Pisces need to know about this past energy? What has Pisces been dealing with? There's the Eight of Cups. You are in the middle of a pretty significant journey. I kept feeling transition. And I feel like some sort of injustice. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the Justice in reverse, but that's the word that I keep hearing. Injustice is really, really pushed you into this journey. And I feel like it's got you maybe feeling pretty afraid of what's ahead, or pretty unsure of where you're going. But I also feel that there's a lot of possibility in your energy that is very, very good here. So you have the Eight of Cups, the Two of Wands, the Seven of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the Emperor. I feel like there was something in your life, I don't know what it is, a job, a relationship, something that had way too much power over you, way too much control over you. And I feel like that's what led to a lot of things being very unfair. Is, maybe somebody used that power and that control to their advantage, and it took away here, when someone has control over you, like say you're in a relationship with somebody, and this is literally just an example that's coming to mind. So, but like say you're in a relationship with someone and they make the money, and that money is how you live. It's what keeps you alive. That person now has the ability to control, if you're not dealing with someone who is handling that power correctly, that person now has the ability to use that power to basically say, now you owe me, or I have control over you because I'm providing you with this thing. It happens a lot with like jobs and bosses. They'll say, I'm employing you, I have all of this power over you, therefore I can make you do these things, or I can, overwork you, I can push you to your limits because I know that you need this job, I know that you need me. That's what this energy feels like. It feels like it's very controlling, it feels like it's very suffocating, and it feels like it is holding you back from being able to recognize that you have more power than you think. So I feel like the reason that something happened, that there was some sort of injustice, that something fell apart, or that something came to light, I feel like it was to get you to see how unfair of a dynamic this was. I don't know what you're dealing with. I'm not here to know what you're dealing with. This is just a general reading, but I do very much feel like something needed to happen to get you to make a change, because nothing deserves to have so much power and control over you that you feel obligated to shrink yourself or abandon yourself or harm yourself for the sake of keeping whatever that thing is, that situation is in your life. And I feel like there was kind of an obligation here, or I guess obligation is the right word. So I feel like you were really pushed out of this energy for a reason. And that can be really scary, especially if you were relying on somebody or something for security or stability, or whatever the case might be, support, it can feel as if you've lost that stability, security, and support. But I feel like this is a journey about recognizing that you never needed it from somebody else and that you can find it within you. Before I decided to start my business, this business that I have, the spiritual coaching business, / tarot, obviously, I was working for a boss that was just not good to me at all. I mean, this person was very controlling, very manipulative, and they often used how much money they were paying me as a way to justify these just like ridiculous things that they were expecting of me. And I did these things because I really needed this money. I needed that job. And I eventually got to a point where I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to allow, like, no amount of money is worth this, basically. And I decided that I was done essentially having bosses because I just had not had good experiences with them. So I started my own business. And it's been the best thing because it's made me learn that, first of all, I'm now making more money than that person was paying me, which is always a very interesting perspective because it's like none of that stuff was ever actually justified in the first place. And second of all, nobody has the power to take away my income except for me. And I think that a lot of times, and I'm not saying that we have to have our own business or, that we shouldn't rely on anybody for anything. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But sometimes we have to recognize that when there are people who are in positions of power over us or who have that kind of control over us, if we cannot rely on them to do what is right by us, there's something wrong there. That means that we are in a position where we are not being valued appropriately or treated like we deserve or, essentially in alignment with where we belong. So I feel like that spirit was actually doing a little bit of divine protection here by pushing you out of something that was pretty unfair in the first place. So let's see where Pisces is at right now. This feels like a very, very specific reading. Who else was like this? I think it was the Aquarius reading I did. It was very specific. I feel like I'm speaking to like one person. Literally, look at that. The Wheel of Fortune. Things are moving in your favor. They're changing in your favor. In fact, I feel like there might be this feeling of I've lost something. I've lost support or I've lost a source of income or like whatever the case is. But I feel like you're actually about to gain it in a way that is actually better than you had before. This is the second Seven of Swords. I feel like Spirit was also protecting you from what you couldn't see. It's almost like you weren't fully aware of all of the factors or all of the things that were at play. And I feel like that was intentional. Let me clarify the Seven of Swords. There's also a lot that you don't see in the background of how things are unfolding. Yeah, Seven of Wands and the Moon. Right now, your perspective is very rooted in fear, which is completely natural and normal. Again, when we're out of our comfort zone, when we're going through change and transition, there's going to be a lot of fear because there's a lot of things that are outside of our control. But that doesn't necessarily mean that what's happening is bad. It means that our fear is telling us that it's bad because our ego isn't in control of the situation. And I feel like that's what is happening right now. It's like you're being moved toward better. But in order to do that, you're having to face this period of the unknown, which is putting you through a lot of fear, probably a lot of anxiety. And I feel like that's why you and your loved ones are safe. You needing to know that you're going to have everything you need every single step of the way, that you are very supported, you are very guided, you have this luck is on your side card. So I feel like the universe is saying things are going to work out in your favor here. And almost like the universe is really asking you to trust that this is happening for a reason that is greater than what you can currently understand right now. I started this reading with talking about fighting back with your light and, not letting what has happened to you or the way that you've been mistreated to define you. And I think that that's what you're really being asked to do right now. You're being asked not to look at what has happened as a reflection of your value or your worth or your potential, but to look at it as redirection toward what is going to value you more, what is going to align with your worth. self-worth more, what aligns with your unlimited potential more. And I feel like that's the perspective shift that's really needed with where you're at right now, because you're stepping into better. It's so clear in this reading that the universe is like, no, you're moving toward better. It just might be hard to understand or feel that way right now, especially if there has been a loss or if there has been a lack of security that you've been dealing with, because I know how painful that can be. So let's see what you can expect, Pisces, moving forward. You have expect powerful change with prosperity lies ahead. Yeah, seeing this Wheel of Fortune is interesting, especially seeing it kind of in contrast with the moon, is it's like there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of things that are not in your control, but everything's working out in your favor. I mean, seeing that with like luck is on your side and you and your loved ones are safe, it's just, I feel like the message is very clear. Like things are working out in your favor in a way that's better than you might think. But I feel like you're being required to find that power within you so that you're understanding that you don't need whatever has been lost in order for you to be happy, loved, safe, abundant, whatever that really looks like. The things in our life should add to our sense of fulfillment and our sense of self-worth and our sense of security. They shouldn't, always be, especially like when it comes to relationships, like something that I've really learned in having a healthy relationship with my husband is that I don't need him in order to be happy. He adds to my happiness. And yes, if I were ever to lose him, it would be sad and I'd have to heal and there'd be a lot of things that I'd go through. But I also know that I would be okay at the end of the day if that ended up being what's best for me. And I know that he would say the same thing. And I think that what I'm getting at is the more that we think that we need something, the more that we're going to be willing to bend ourselves and our values in order to make it work. The more that we are going to self-sacrifice, the more that we're going to self-abandon, the more that we're going to treat ourselves poorly in order to acquire this thing, have this thing, be in, in that situation. And that will always keep us from being able to stand in our power, because it's basically saying this thing, it's in control of you. It has power over you. It gets to dictate, what you're worth, what you're deserving of, what you're capable of. But nobody in this world gets to dictate that but you. You are the only person who gets to determine what you're worth, what your value is, what you are and are not willing to accept. And I almost feel like the universe is asking you, even if it's scary and even if it's hard, to like raise your standards for yourself. And I'm not saying you had low standards or anything like that, but like raise the standards for what you're willing to accept, basically saying, I know what I'm worth and I know what my value is. And if you're not willing to meet me there, then I'm not willing to accept it. And that might include saying no to things that aren't, aligning with your worth and aligning with your value, but that's always going to lead you to the things that will. So what does Pisces need to know moving forward? Whew. Which is an interesting reading, Pisces. It actually really is interesting to me that we haven't seen the Justice card. I really, really expected to see it a lot in this reading. So it's interesting to me that it's not popping out. That didn't feel like that was supposed to come out. The Hierophant. Your perspective is going to directly affect your result. Okay. One of the things, there's the 10 of Cups, but you need to know that you have, you've got so much potential ahead of you, Pisces, but your perspective is going to directly affect your results. You have the Temperance with the Ace of Pentacles too. One of the things I talk a lot about is a victim mentality versus a creator mentality. And a victim mentality says, this is my circumstance, this is what I'm dealing with, it's incredibly unfair, period. This is how things are always going to be, things are never going to change, I have no power, things never get better. That's a victim mentality. A creator mentality says, things are happening, yes, it's unfair, yes, I wish that they were different, but what now? What can I do? Where do I have power? Where do I have control? How can I show up? How can I create change, even if it's in small ways? And that is where we fight back. There are so many things in this world that are capable of taking our power. Jobs, relationships, financial situations, all of these things can take away our power from us. And we can let it. And when we let it, we're basically saying that we have no power, we have no control, that everything is out of our hands, and we have absolutely no power or control over our life at all. And though to a certain extent, there are a lot of things that are out of our control, and there are a lot of ways in which we don't have power. But there are also a lot of ways in which we do. There are also a lot of ways in which we can create change, in which we can show up for ourselves, in which we can fight back with light and with love. And I feel like that's what you're needing to try and do right now. I feel like when we go through really difficult things, we have so many reasons to give up. I see it in the comments all the time. You people that are dealing with just these horrible things that life has put you through that are just absolutely unfair. And it's always so heartwarming to read these comments, not obviously because of what you're going through, but the ways in which you say that my words provide hope, because that's all I want to do is help you to understand that no matter how hard things have been or how your life has been to this point or what has happened to you, and even if you have been a victim, I'm not saying you're not. What I am saying is that you have the ability to create positive change in your life. You have the ability to show up and to believe that positive things, that good things, that positive outcomes can happen. But it's going to require you to love yourself, value yourself, and believe that you are supported by something bigger than you, more than you ever have. And that's where things get hard, is because that's where it requires you to do the work. It's what requires you to look within and to start to make these changes from the inside out. And I feel like I am speaking to a collective that's doing that. And I think that that's what you need to understand, that things are going to work out in your favor and that luck is on your side, because you are showing up for what it is that you do deserve. It's going to take time. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a journey. It probably already has been, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get there. It's just because you haven't gotten there yet. So again, I get that there's a lot of fear. I get that there's a lot of reasons to believe that things can't get better, that things can't work out in your favor, that you'll never be happy again, or you'll never be loved again, or you'll never feel safe again. But that's not true. In fact, I feel like this is actually opening the door for you to feel those things in deeper, more sustainable ways that don't require you to sacrifice your worth or yourself or your sanity or your mental or emotional well-being in order to stay in them or to receive those things. So I feel like this is pushing you in a new direction for a reason, and I feel like this new direction is going to be a lot better than the old one, but I feel like you're going to need to trust the process as you're getting there. This is definitely about allowing new energy into your life and allowing yourself as much as you can to let go of old energy, to let go of things that aren't serving you, which again, I know that isn't always the easiest thing to do, but expect powerful change. Prosperity lies ahead. With the 10 of Cups in your future is a pretty great energy to see, especially seeing the Wheel of Fortune with luck is on your side. So I do feel like things are going to work out in your favor. It might be a little bit different than you expect, but I don't think you're going to really care, because I think that you're going to be like, cool, this is great. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to look at what you can do right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self. So this is what you need to know. Extended is what you can do, what you need to do. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Pisces, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Pisces.